Hi everyone, I'm Jan from Pins and Needles in Cleveland, Ohio and sewItonline.com. Now, I'm going to review for you 3 machines. I consider these all pretty much basic. They're far from basic, don't get me wrong, but they're everything that you could ever want to do for the next 25 years is inside of these particular machines. So we're talking about a level of this Jubilant here is on sale for $4.99 and I'm going all the way to $8.99. So I'm going to compare the differences of what you get per what you're buying because everybody has different specifications and different needs and different thought processes. So I'm going to start today with the Brilliant. Number one, the price at $8.99 is absolutely incredible. I call it the baby of the top of the line, meaning the inequality on the inside of the sewing machines is basically the same as my $10,000 sewing machine. It's got all the important functions if you're growing to a new machine. So I always talk about 7 basic stitches and 3 quality features. So I want you to have a full rotary hook, I want you to have solid state electronics, and I want you to have universal pressure. Those functions mean inside the sewing machine, it's going to be able to go through your denim, it's going to be able to quilt, it's going to do everything that you want to do. Just trust me that it's in all 3 models. There's 7 stitches I make sure that you get. There's a lot of sewing machines on the mass market that do 140 stitches, but they don't do the good basic 7. So what good are they? You know, you want quality first, stitches second, and a little bit of fun third. You'll be okay with any one of these here. So I'm going to show you Tri-Motion just because it's the most important thing you get and people don't realize it. So what it's doing, I have it set up to see how it's just going. Do you see how it's dancing? Do you see how that's moving along? It's going backwards, forward, sideways. So the stitch comes boop, 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 and that's what it's doing. And why is that? Because the fabrics of today, now watch, just want to show you something cool. I'm going to use my scissors. I'm going to lift up my presser foot. And do you see how it's got the Tri-Motion on there to be able to do it? Now what's the fun about that? It's going to stretch. It's not going to break. Why do you need that? Because you mend. You fix this, you fix a neckline, whatever you're going to do if you're going to sew a garment. But do you see how a beautiful seam it is? So it's a copy of Ready to Wear. Ready to Wear, they use a serger, but I've got those stitches on all 3 of this sewing machine. So what's the difference? This one is, like I told you, is as heavy duty as you're going to get as far as quality, as far as performance, going to go through with it. It also offers you scissors. So as I'm going to sew here, I'm going to go back to my regular stitch. Scissors are something you're going to have to give up if we go down to that one. So I'm going to go down. I want a knot right there. I love that function to be able to knot. I reach up, cut my threads. Now I can lift up my presser foot, or it comes with a knee lift that's going to lift it for you. In your classes, I'll get you attached to a knee lift. What that did is that sewed my seam and pulled the 2 threads, top and bottom, on underneath. Cool, cool, cool. So that's what's important for you to be able to do, is to say, okay, do I want scissors? Because let me just show you this little function you might be awfully embedded with. This one's going to do a reverse and it's going to do a stitch. So pretend you're sewing your fat squares together. It's going to show up better on this denim, so just follow me. So, okay, let's go back a second. It unthreaded. If you think that's not going to happen to you, it's because I'm talking too fast. But I wanted to show you how to thread it anyways. So follow along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to come down, number 6. I'm going to cut it off. Now this function right here, as I'm showing you right now, is on all 3 of these machines. My opinion is it's the most important function that you purchase. So over the scissors and everything, watch, 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 watch. I'm going to come down and it's going to thread the needle for me every single time perfectly. So I had to show you that function. If you're comparing machines and they say it has a needle threader, you better check it out, because this baby lock has got it won out on the needle threader. So now I'm going to just sew along. So just pretend I'm going to the end. I want to push reverse. Now watch. It's reversing. It's going to cut the thread, and I'm going to lift up my presser foot. It cut the thread and buried it to the bottom. Here's the important thing. I put it back down. It'll come forward. It'll reverse for me. I come on down. Again, I can tell it to knot, and it's going to cut my thread automatically for me. So imagine putting back those jelly rolls. Imagine going to the end of a top stitch seam. Imagine when you're quilting and you're stitching in the ditch, right? And then all you do is push the button and it buries the thread and cuts it. Also, watch, I don't have to worry about bringing my thread up. I don't have to worry about turning my hand wheel. It does it all for me. So what's exclusive on the Baby Lock Brilliant? Number one, the price at $8.99 is pretty incredible. It usually sells for about $13.99. It's got all the important functions up here, meaning a little bit of quilting stitches, some decorative stitches, heirloom stitches. It's got a candle wicking stitch. You say, what do you need them all for? You're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to do videos on using all of the different stitches for you to be able to get into them. And at sewitonline.com, all the classes on what to do with it all, and sewing on buttons and hooks and eyes are on there. You will never hem anything by hand. You will do it all by machines in many, many, many different ways. It's also fun and so easy. So what's the advantage here is, number one, it's the strongest machine. Number two, it's got a bigger opening. Do you see here? So your sewing machine at home from here to here is about 5 inches, 4.5 to 5 inches if you have an older model. And so what you get here is the full 8-inch opening. So there's a lot easier room for you to be able to do with it. You're going to love the lighting. You're going to love the needle threader, and you're going to love the scissors. So that's what the Brilliant offers you in a nutshell. I could go on for hours, but let's just explain that. Now, stay with me a second, and I'm going to go down to the Verb and make sure you can all see this one. So what do I have in the Verb is I have added an embroidery machine, okay? So all I have to do is turn off the machine and take off an embroidery unit, put on a piece here, and I have a regular sewing machine, right? So now we're only $799. So why would you want the Verb over the Brilliant or the Brilliant over the Verb? Is because you would like a taste of embroidery. So what I love about it is all the functions that I told you about that are on the Brilliant are on the Verb. But it gives you a taste of embroidery. If you're a gift giver, boing. So if you're just a quilter and you don't want embroidery, I show this to people in the store all the time, and some people say, I would never do that. I would never make a quilt label. I would never have fun like this. I wouldn't do it. Then you know yourself. And if you aren't going to do it, then stay with the Brilliant if you want the bigger opening. So the big difference is the opening here compared to the opening here. So this gives you a taste of embroidery. I love it because it gives you a little bit of everything, and you've got so much growth room to be able to use with it. Quality on the sewing machines of these two models are pretty much the same, probably 95%. They both offer the wonderful scissor function. So those are a few things that you may want to consider. They both got color screens. So you can see when you get into the colors, you can see the color screens. You see how easy that is when you get into the designs or whatever you're doing. You're talking at an incredible price of $799 for this machine. We've never sold them that low before. There's a limited supply of them, but it's probably my most popular machine for someone that's coming in and wants to see what's new in sewing. So it's just a gem. Other people buy it because they want it as a second machine. They want 2 embroidery machines maybe, or they want this to do sewing. I have people that have them in business, and they're constantly doing dog collars or whatever you want to be able to do them, and they're running 4 and 5 at one time, so they keep 2 or 3 of these machines running. So, but it's dependable enough to go through your heavy denim, your lightweight knits, anything you want to is going to sew perfectly on the Verb. So now I'm going to switch over and show you the Jubilant. And that is equal in many ways. It's got a lot of functions on it that are somewhat the same. So let me push this one back and bring up the Jubilant so you can see it just a little bit better, I hope. And let's see if I can bring this over. Okay, so now the Jubilant. Now we're at an incredible price of $4.99. So if you've looked at sewing machines, and I've got them in the stores for $150, but if you look at a computerized electronic machine that's got all the good, important stitches in it, you can't beat this. So I'll tell you what you're missing, but also what you're growing with. So number one, it's quality. So if you've heard me talk about the 3 quality features and you told me, let me tell you about the important stitches that you have on the machine, this has it. Where this one has 80 stitches, this one probably has got 140. So you can get into the differences of what they all do. So the joy of this machine is that, watch, if I want to stitch and I want to do this little flower down here on 56, I just turn the machine to 56, but guess what? It sets everything for me. It sets its length, it sets its width, it tells me what presser foot to use. Because as you get going in sewItonline.com, we're going to get you using this stuff. And if you get to use it, they have different presser feet that come with it. I mean, there's tons of them that come with it. And they're designed to be able to go over the fabrics and with the stitches add bulk to the fabric because you're stitching on top of something. So this is a lot heavier than what just this is. So there's pressed special feet to be able to use it for, but they marked it right here for us. So it's not, it's simple, okay? So it's a simple machine if you're not sewing every day or every week and you want to be able to sit down and find number 14, you're just going to turn it to number 14 and everything comes out right. So if you're not an everyday sewer, I would suggest something like this is going to be perfect for you. It's going to give you the needle threader, which I think is so important to be able to have with the needle threader. It's also giving you the extra lift to be able to go through it. So everything here we're into a little bit heavier duty, we're into scissors, we're into different things, but this machine for the everyday sewer is probably perfect for you to have a machine that's always going to work no matter what fabric you use, no matter what thread you use. Of course, you got to use the right needle. Okay, that's no different, heavier needles for different fabrics, but it's going to do your one-step buttonhole, it's going to do your blind hems, it's going to sew your hooks and eyes on, it's going to sew your snaps on, and it's got all the quilting stitches. So if you want to quilt your binding down and do a fancy stitch around there, or you want to do a little bit of stippling, it's built into this machine. So again, the Jubilant starts on a special sale right now at $4.99. Never less than $8.99. So this is a great buy on the Jubilant. You move up to the Verb if you want the embroidery. So it's basically this machine. It adds scissors, a little bit heavier duty, and adds the embroidery. Now we're talking $7.99. You want a number one just heavy duty workhorse as a second machine or something maybe next to your embroidery machine. Boom. The Brilliant offers a whole lot for $8.99. Remember, the classes are free on sewitonline.com if you don't live in the Cleveland area. We want you to use anything that you have, and we really are doing events for you that you will get that are teaching you things all the time on what to do with it all. So you want to start a new joy in sewing? Join with us. We'll have a lot of fun together. Hope to see you soon. Let us know if we can help you.